everybody doing? My name's Mike, and we got Miss Layla with us today, and we also got my dog Roots hanging out on place. So today we're going to talk about training, and we're going to do like a basic training routine with Miss Layla today. And I want to talk a little bit about fear with the dog. So she's a very fearful dog, and that became very apparent to me very quickly when I had her. So basically, if you want to know what fear looks like in a dog, is anytime, if you try to put a collar on the dog and the dog backs away, the dog's most likely fearful. If the dog has a tendency to want to run away and back away from things a lot, the dog's usually fearful. So if you have a fearful dog in a house, I knock on the door and I hear a dog barking a bunch, and when I walk in, the dog backs up and continues to bark, or like backs away from me, or tries to escape, goes into fight or flight mode. And then with a dog who's not fearful, with a dog who's opposite, a dog like mine who was a more dominant dog, he would bark and want to move forward into somebody. So the dog that wants to move forward into someone is confident. The dog that moves away from someone or away from activities or loud noises or things like that, most likely is probably fearful. Again, the only way for me to really know is to actually see the dog. Now, she's still going to have fear in her genetics, so that's a genetic thing, that's a longer conversation, but she's still going to have fear when she goes home to the owners, but it's going to be minimized. You're going to see a lot less of that, and the reason for that is because when we start training them, it becomes clear to the dog what the human wants, and we also create a clear line of communication so the dog starts understanding things and there's not so much chaos. So that way, if the owner's trying to put a leash on and the dog's running away, the dog's now practicing fear. Now when we put a leash on her and she's in the crate, that blocks the instinct for her to want to run away. So slowly her brain starts calming down, becomes more confident, and she accepts the leash properly. So every activity we do with this dog, we want to interact with her in a way that's going to build her self-esteem, and that's how we minimize the fear. And again, that's something you're going to want to have done by a professional. Your average owner is not going to be able to train the dog and get train basically to minimize fear. But with training, we can do a lot for them. Even her just relaxing in her own home, I never witnessed a time where she was really relaxing. She's just on the move a lot and making a lot of decisions for her own. So right now we're just going to kind of work her and just see how she does with some of the basic stuff we taught her. And she's only been here for a week, so she's still got a couple weeks left. And we want to work slow and gain her trust. Okay, heel. Good girl, sit. Good girl, good sit. So she does what I want. I give her a pet and I say, good girl. I'm positively reinforcing what I want from her. If she does something I don't want, I'll tell her no, correct her, then give her direction. So it'll look like no, clink, sit. Good girl, good sit. And so at first she didn't want to have anything to do with me. Now, as you can see, she's looking at me. She actually wants my affection. When I say good girl, good sit, she knows affection follows. Just like if I say no, she knows a correction is going to follow. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Good sit. Good job, girl. Sit. Sit. Good girl. So I don't say stay. If I want the dog to continue sitting, I'll just repeat the command sit. Good girl, good sit. And I say sit if I think she's going to move, or if I just want to remind her at this stage in training. Good girl, good sit. Atta girl, good job. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Sit. Atta girl. No, sit. I don't want her shifting too much when she's sitting. Sit. Good girl. The idea is when you tell the dog to sit is for her to actually sit and stay still. Good sit. A lot of owners will say their dog knows how to sit, when in reality the dog's butt hits the ground, then the dog moves. Heel. So this is her place bed. Sit. Good girl. Sit. With her place bed, when I tell her to get on it, she is not allowed to leave afterwards. So until I give her another command. When I bring her up to place, we have her sit to calm her down so she's not getting on the bed, super excited. Place, good girl. And then we always lead the dog on with our hand. You know, we always use the leash over the bed. We bring the leash over the bed. We don't just tell the dog and wait for them to make a decision. We use this as a lead. And as you can see, my dog is doing place in almost all the videos you see. If my dog's not doing place in front of the camera, it's because he's behind the camera doing that. And if you do it enough with him, that's what you're going to get. You know, he's observing, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. If you notice, like, he's calm, I don't have to even worry about him leaving. He does have an e-collar on. Any dog you don't have a leash on, you're going to want to have an e-collar on. And I don't even have a remote on me because I know my dog's going to respond to my command because of how much training we've done. And that's what you want him to look like. You know, you want him to look calm. Good boy, Roots. Place. Good girl. And that's what you want too. You want the dog to actually go to place and then lay down. Good boy. Good place, Roots. Good job, buddy. Good boy. Good place. Doing a good job, boy. Good boy. Good place, girl. And it's also important for her to understand I can drop the leash, I can go interact with another dog without her getting in my business. Okay, girl, heel. Good girl. Sit. Atta girl. Good girl. Sit. And kind of just mix it up with her, and we're just practicing her heel, sit, stay, place. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Atta girl. Sit. Place. Good girl. Good job, girl. Okay, heel. Good girl. Sit. Atta girl. Good job. And so for a fearful dog, this is important to get her up and have her do things that she's not practicing fear. A fearful dog is not going to want to sit, is not going to want to listen to what someone says. Okay, a fearful dog is going to want to always panic and then do whatever it is their body wishes for them to do, which is usually going to be tear things up, run and try and hide, and they can hurt themselves and destroy your home in the process. So it's important to train them. She is just out of the puppy stage. So, you know, it's best to train them at 8 weeks, but, you know, at least we got her when she was somewhat in the puppy stage, so that's going to be good for the owners. Good girl. You see a lot of eye contact is good. That's what you want. The dog's looking at me. What do you want from me? What would you like me to do? Good girl. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. That girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Sit. Atta girl. Place. Good place. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Good sit. Sit. Atta girl. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Atta girl. Place. Good job. Good girl. So she did really good with that. Place. So I remind her. I can see her looking like she's going to get off. So I remind her, hey, place. We only correct her if she's like about to actually get off, or she does get off. So she did really good with that. It's important to get the dog up and, hey, and practice a routine with her every day. So that if you want them to perform something like a sit or laying down or being on place, you have to work with them every day. We recommend people do this, like a little routine, just like you saw. The only thing this routine was missing was her down command because she's so new. We have not hit that yet. We build a lot of trust before we get to that point. But as you can see, she's doing really good. She was a super fearful dog. You know, definitely in the top 10 of the most fearful dogs I've dealt with. And, the key is with the dog that's fearful, you have to move slow, you have to get them to trust you, and you have to tell them in a way they understand trust and respect, you know. So there has to be a fine line between teaching the dog and moving slowly, but also moving with a purpose and not allowing the dog to stop exercises. That's what a fearful dog is going to try and do. She's going to try to stop exercises. So what you saw today is just a culmination of working slowly with the dog, and just having experience with fearful dogs has helped a lot with her and not to make the same mistakes that made in past with fearful dogs. So she's doing really good. We have really high hopes for her. And again, to get a behavior like this, heel from her, sit, good girl. We have to practice it every day with them, that. And we also have to hold affection back because she works for this affection. Sit, good girl, good sit. She works for that affection. If I just give her this affection, why would she ever sit? Why would she work for the affection if she already gets it? So that's why it's important for us to hold our affection back until they're doing things like this that we want. Then we can pet them and reinforce it. It's going to have much more value than if we just got a puppy and started petting it for doing nothing and not earning it. So the idea is we want to mark the dog's behavior, show them what's good, show them what's bad, and also reward them properly and also correct them timely.